All right, we are live. Let's see if we get everybody in here. Hello, everybody, hello, and welcome to another edition of Whetstone Wednesday. But first, how you guys doing? Any wins this week? Any huge, deep existential pains? Anything you want to get off your chest? Let's do this. Big Rod. Thank you, Nick. I'm going to give people a couple minutes to just filter in. Vocal sync is off. Does the audio sound off to everybody, or is it just Agni? Just make one more post. Okay, cool. Awesome. Audio's good. Audio's working. Talking more. Sorry, Tanya. I was typing and forgot that I am literally on a screen in front of 21 people. Fantastic. How are you guys doing today? Are you guys pumped? Are you excited for copy critiques? Yo, 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 Iman. Excellent. Excited beyond belief. I love to hear that, Tanya. Jerry says, just today I found this channel from someone I contacted from the TBC Discord. Great and valuable information you guys are giving. Keep up the good work. Thank you. That's what we love to hear. We very much believe in this mission. The amplitude of my joy knows no bounds. I love that for you, and also deeply appreciate that sentiment from someone who also likes to use big and unnecessarily flowery language. I'm actually doing great today. I had a project that's been kind of like lagging for a long time, being really slow. We've had a big breakthrough. We're about to cross the finish line, and then I can never think about this again until the next time I have to do it. So, big win. GJ asks, do we have a paid Discord group? I joined the Copylight paid Discord group, and I'm looking to join other paid stuffs. So the way our Discord works, I'll post a link in chat, just in case some of you aren't in it yet. Here. So the way our Discord works is it's free to join. Like literally anyone can join. Your mom can come join and talk to us about copy. If you subscribe to our Patreon, there are a couple like bonus channels you get access to. And so let's see, what do we got? There is just like a kind of more exclusive general chat channel. We have an exclusive critiques channel that we use for this stream that you guys are about to watch. So everyone whose copy I'm about to go through is a Patreon member. And there's like a little study club in there that some people are running independent of us. But I will also say that you definitely, I think there's so much value on our Discord, even without paying for it. So I would join first. And if you want us to pay copy to us, if you want to join that higher tier and just pay us for our time, I would love that for you. But don't feel like you need to do that, anybody. What else? Patreon is $20 a month. So it's like, I don't know, 4 cups of coffee at Starbucks. And you can do that by going to patreon.com/thecopythatshow. There's my plug for the stream. But yeah, definitely don't feel like you need to pay for anything. Join, because there's so much value on our channel. We probably have hundreds of hours of videos at this point for free. Tons to learn. We have more content there, but take it at your own pace. But yeah, let's do some critiques while we are all here. And yes, it cannot be copied that without a proper plug. So our first critique is from somebody. It's from Chris the Don, who has sent us an engagement email. Let's see, what do we got? So the identity of his audience is anyone who wants to ride a bike or rides a bike. The problem that they have is physical pain. They have felt weaker when riding a new bike. Selling bikes, I don't know what that means. But they hate wet and snowy roads. They're afraid to ride bikes. They probably think bikes are expensive. Maybe they are angry drivers. Different terrains, hard terrains, imperfect weather. Okay. Their desire is a pain-free experience and to effortlessly breeze through everything, enjoying the feeling of the wind, become healthy and fit. And the obstacles to get to those desires are they don't have the resources, whether that's time, money, or space. The terrain or weather where they are is terrible, or they feel that bike maintenance is expensive. Okay. So let's just get into this. So it's an email. Subject line is angry driver plus hot weather plus dumb cyclist equals disaster. Kind of like that. Let's just say things got heated up. But first, let's rewind time back to 4 hours ago. As we wait in front of my friend's house, my friend Jonathan, annoyed with furrowed eyebrows, yells at me, "Ugh, how long do we have to wait? It's so hot and humid around these parts." FYI, the weatherman reported that today will be a 40 degrees Celsius day. Yelling didn't do him any favor either. It made him angrier and he turned red like a tomato. Thankfully, our friend Joseph stepped outside and walked towards us at the right time. He glanced at Jonathan and teased him. "What made you so red, pretty boy?" Jonathan was not having it, but that'll be another one for the next email. Probably. We had a long ride consisting of uphills and downhills, so it was a bit of a struggle. But still, the feeling of wind breezing through you was the reason it was worth it. Until this following scenario happened. The three of us were preparing for the last checkpoint towards the city, and we kind of chickened out since it's a very famous road because of its high incident rate. The checkpoint consisted of 2 uphills and downhills, followed by another downhill and a hairpin turn. But since we're young and dumb, the three of us risked it for the thrill. And back to the present. We completed the 2 uphills and 3 downhills effortlessly, and halfway through the hairpin turn, Joseph, who was in front of us, panicked and suddenly turned a sharp right and fell over his bike after a loud honking was approaching. We felt like a bunch of dominoes since we're lined up with each other, because aerodynamics. Thankfully, we only got minor scrapes. So we got up and picked up our bikes, decided to apologize, and leave peacefully. However, things don't go the way you want sometimes, right? A furious, seemingly, 5'6" bald man got out of his car and slammed his car door so loud it echoed across the mountain. He marched toward us and screamed with spit coming out of his mouth. "What the fuck are you guys doing? Are you stupid?" Of course, us, the troublemakers, kept on apologizing since we're actually wrong in this scenario. The reason why the incident happened is because Joseph was actually dozing off mid-ride, and if he hadn't turned to the right, he would have gotten injured, or worst case, yeah. Despite us apologizing, the furious driver kept screaming at us, and it was understandable. However, Jonathan was growing impatient and started tapping his fingers with his arms crossed. He ultimately reached his boiling point and started screaming at the furious driver too. "We get it, old man. Shut up. We apologized all right. What do you want from us?" And so a heated exchange began between the two. It was like a bunch of dogs barking at each other. Lol. We held Jonathan back since he has anger issues, because if he'd done something to the driver, we'll be going to prison. Fortunately, time passed and it eventually came to an end. We apologized again for who knows how many times and cruised towards the city with a sigh and a relieved expression on our face. If you notice by now, there's no aha moment in this email. It's meta. And you're right. It's just a story about 3 dumb cyclists who suffer the consequences of young male syndrome. If you don't know what it is, the quick Google search should do the trick. Oh shoot, Jonathan's waiting for me outside. To wrap up, here's this month's issue just in case you missed it. Benefit, 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 and more. Now scram off. Link. Don. Okay. So this is an email. What do you guys think of this email? Or yes, more specifically, keeping in mind that this is supposed to be an engagement email for people who ride bikes with these problems, with these desires, with these obstacles. What do we think about this email? I love these narration comments. Thank you so much. Maybe I'll just quit this whole copy thing and become a voice actor. I thought I'm in the wrong live. I think all of these comments are actually touching on something really important. Who was this again? This was Chris the Don. Chris actually did a really good job here, kind of telling us the story and painting what happened. Like, he tells us, like, he doesn't just say his friend is mad. He says his friend, annoyed with furrowed eyebrows, yells. He's talking about like the fat bald dude yelling so much that spit comes out of his mouth. The way he writes, you actually really have a vivid image of what he's talking about in his writing. And so that is actually genuinely done very well. Yeah, you definitely get the emotion. You understand what all of the characters are thinking and feeling and, going throughout the story. Yes. Now, the challenge here for me is that we have this pretty good writing, but what we're doing when we sit down to write copy is not just writing for writing's sake. We are writing with an objective. We're writing to compel somebody to take some sort of action. In an engagement email, that might just mean you want the prospect to think about your brand or think about one of your offers or think about some sort of thing that has to do with you. You want to stay top of mind with them. And so it doesn't have to be a, hey, click to go to this website, even though it's generally good to include that. But one of the problems here is that we start up top, and it's a very long email. There's no framing. There's no, hey, this is what this has to do with the reason you are subscribed to this list. And then at the end, he finishes his story, and it's just like, oh yeah, by the way, here's this month's entry, or here's this month's whatever. And so you haven't really scaffolded this experience to make it so that your reader comes back to like thinking about your brand or thinking about one of your offers. And that's a challenge because every time someone reads one of your emails and doesn't feel like they're getting real value from it, they are that much less likely to click your next email and engage with it, particularly when you are writing this kind of long form content. I think Rizvan's got it here where, you have a pretty good understanding of your reader and everything else, except we're not really getting to that one action that you want them to take at the end. Yeah. And then what does the story have to do with me? Now, I don't think that, or when you are telling stories like this, the story does not have to be an allegory for your reader's life necessarily. And what I mean by that is that it does not have to be an experience that your reader has had. It could be an experience that they relate to, or an experience that they have some understanding of for other factors. And so if you think about social media right now, for example, there's tons of like outrage media where it's like, hey, I'm going to show you something that's meant to piss you off. You may never be in the situation. You may never have thought about the situation, but you're going to see this thing and be like, oh my God, this is so dumb. So I actually kind of liked this subject line because it's like angry driver plus hot weather plus dumb cyclist equals disaster. And I can imagine somebody, as someone who's driven a lot, I've driven with a bunch of dumb cyclists, and I know how pissy people get when it's hot. And so you spell this out, I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be interesting, or this is going to be some crazy shit that I can see happening, or I thought might have happened to me, but never happened. And so that's a kind of cool way to lead in. The problem is that you just never really tie it back to whatever product it is that you're offering. And I think you actually list all these problems here, but I don't think you really touch on any of them. Like, you include an angry driver, but then at every point in the story, you say that it was the cyclist's fault that this whole thing happened. And so I don't really understand what the angry driver has to do with it so much. Yeah, I mean, this is a great comment too. Tanya says, I like how it shows the frustration that people feel when no one understands what another person is going through, which is a fantastic thing to get someone to feel through your writing. Like, that's a really huge accomplishment. The only problem here is that this has very little to do with like why we're writing copy. And so like that's a huge win for you as a writer. We just have to do the extra work to then tie it back down to the sort of business objective we have here. Yeah. And particularly because you've written the emotional aspect of this so well, you've now gotten your reader to a point where they actually read the entire thing and be like, oh, I'm engaging with this. I'm engaging with this. Once they've let down their walls, you need to do something with that vulnerability that they've shown you. Yeah. And I think this is where your opportunity is, definitely. It's at the end. And so you tell the story, you say you apologize, and then you go to the city, and the story's over. And if you've noticed by now, there's no aha moment. And this is a cool trick too, because I think people expect, oh my God, big escalation, big grandiose lesson. And you're subverting that expectation by saying, you know what, it's actually kind of this mundane thing. And so now that you have them there, now you subverted the expectation, open up about what you want them to take away. Don't just say it's about 3 dumb cyclists. Say it's about 3 cyclists who came into a situation that, that happens to people all the day, or that happens to people all the time. And that's why you want people to read this new newsletter, because that's what you're talking about this month, or to, make sure they have up-to-date helmets, because you never know when you're going to get into an accident or whatever the thing is. There is an opportunity there to tie it back to something. It's just going to depend on what your product is. Thank you, Paula, for doing my job for me. Don't forget to like the stream, everybody. Very, very important. I think that's a lot. So let's move on to the next one for now. And if you are here, Chris/Don, feel free to comment, ask questions and stuff too. We don't have a ton to go through today, so happy to spend a little bit more time on each one. This next one is from, let's see. This next one's from Evan, who says, I'm developing a front end for a client. These are a bunch of hooks I want to test to inform the offer. I'm trying to narrow it down to 10 and punch them up as much as possible. Okay, cool. It is this Evan, if you guys want to add him in chat. I guess since I have you here, can you tell me in like a sentence or two, like what the offer is, or what you're trying to sell, or what the big idea is, or anything, just so we all have a little bit more context. Okay. A subject line for that last email? Yes, there was. It was angry driver plus hot weather plus dumb cyclist equals disaster. Oh, the second one. No, because this is not email. So what Evan has here are a series of hooks. Are these headlines you're testing, or are these... One sec, what did you say? I guess where are these hooks going, or you're imagining them going? Because these could be like the headlines on like PPC ads, or they could be a lot of different things. I guess we can start going through them while Evan is typing or looking or AFK. So these are all each separate. So just keep that in mind, guys. They're not connected to each other. So this weird genetic program lets home traders beat institutional investors month after month with average returns of percentage, a big number. Okay. And I guess we have a bunch of these. So this feels okay to me. Okay, great. Here we go. So essentially the basic program that's being sold is an AI that generates strategies, like trading strategies, by successive generations of backtesting. Okay, cool. And so is this going in front of like PPC that's driving to some sort of landing page, or we're thinking about selling the idea that he uses some weird alternative data to dive into market cycles. Okay. Cool. All right, well, let's go through these one by one. These are going to PPC that's driving to a bare bones landing page. Great. So what that means for everybody who's not familiar with this is that like when you're browsing the internet, typically you're going to have these ads, often with like stock images of old people that have a little headline that says a crazy thing that when you click it will drive to a landing page that will have a VSL or I guess just copy on it that will then lead to a sale. And this is one way in, or this is one way to approach this, but let's go through all of what Evan has and just kind of talk it through and see what we think. So yeah, first one, this weird genetic program lets home traders beat institutional investors month after month with average returns of XX%. Okay. I think the word genetic here is really interesting to me because it feels really out of place. Like I have no idea what a genetic program is, and so putting it here is actually kind of intriguing to me. But the rest of this feels so like generic, so to speak, or so like standard, that the intriguing part of this gets lost in just how much normal stuff there is. And so if you want to go this route, I would actually play this up a bit or cut from here so that this becomes more of the focus. So like saying like the weird, like genetic, you could put it in scare quotes too, program that lets home traders, beat Wall Street or something. Like even just cutting this, I think, would make this stronger, even though this is adding specificity because it highlights this unique mechanism or unique component that you have here. The rest of this, though, does feel very standard. Like you could say this about pretty much any trading service. Like this thing we're selling lets home traders do this thing with average returns of whatever the percentage is. I think either cut or tweak this so it's either more impressive, more bigger, more unique, because it's not doing much for me. Number 2, the secret behind quant fund success. New discovery brings hedge fund level data to kitchen counter traders. Oh, that's kind of cool. I think these feel like two separate. I feel like you could pull these apart, and they're both more interesting. Or maybe we could just like cut this from it and put in here. Like if you said new discovery reveals the secret behind quant fund success for kitchen counter traders, I think that's one cool idea. But when you say here's a secret behind what they're doing, and then you're saying a new discovery is just bringing data to these people, is I just feel like different things. Hedge, yeah. Oops. Hedge fund level data sounds bland to me, but I haven't thought of a great way to say it. Yeah, it definitely sounds bland. I think you could reframe it around like the sort of access piece where like data only available to hedge funds. You have to play with that and how to fit that into the sentence, but like make it about like think about what does it mean that something is hedge fund level data? Is it that they spend so much money to get it? Is it that it's really secret and hard and like access to it is super limited? Is it that it is the best data available that no one else has? There's a thing within that phrase or within that idea that I think is the real thing you need to pull out of that. Yeah, I think that this is definitely a better version of what you have here. And I think it's kind of cool too because, granted, I am not the legal department, but normally I'd be like, oh, can you really say hedge fund level results? But if you could substantiate that by saying, the typical hedge fund sees XX percentage result, and this trading strategy generates XX level result, you can then kind of like make that claim. So I think it's a cool way to play with it. Yeah, so access is expensive and limited. That's the real barrier. I think playing off of those two things, because those are also the barriers for like at-home traders, where it's like they can't afford to pay for the things that will give the data insights that will give them the real edge. So definitely just play off of those or keep those ideas in mind as we go through the rest of them. Here's a great question, Evan. Is the audience for this new investors or existing investors? I would imagine that these are people who already have some experience in trading, or they feel like they have some experience in trading, and so they want to buy products that will give them an edge. Probably not brand new people. Yeah. All right, let's kind of speed through the rest of these. How Jim Simons beat the markets. New info giving Main Street traders an edge. I don't know Jim Simons because I'm not in this field. If he's a big name, this is cool. I think new info giving Main Street traders an edge. Personally, I'm not a big fan of just saying like new thing. New thing gives, new thing is, new thing whatever. I think you need to always take that one step further and talk about like what and demonstrate a change with your verb. And so instead of like gives these traders an edge, it like reveals an edge. It's like transforming. It is, demonstrate how big of a difference or how big of an impact this thing is going to give these people using this verb. Giving is like this verb could be doing so much more work for you. Oh, well, shit. Like, this is kind of cool. I mean, obviously, you can't say, like, Jim Simon's secrets were buried in the grave with him, but we dug them up. But like, there might be a way to play with, he's gone, but his strategies aren't. Or now that he's like, done, we can finally talk about what he did to beat the market. Next one. New discovery allows genetic program to predict just about any stock, market, sector, or ETF. Is a genetic program like a term that most people know or are familiar with? Because this is the first time I've heard it, but if this is like kind of standard industry stuff, then I think that changes the reading for me. Right, next. Mispricing glitch reveals institutional investors are leaving big money on the table. Interested in seeing how 5,000 plus traders are taking advantage of this new information? Click the link below. I like this one a lot. I think there's maybe an opportunity to do a little bit more polarizing. I think showing that these guys made a mistake, and so there's an opportunity here is the right way to go. But I wonder, is there a way to like be like, they fucked up and they're leaving big money on the table, to kind of be like, oh shit, we need to take advantage of the big bad guy. Maybe you could do that here, because this sentence feels kind of long for what it's saying. Because you could basically say, now, mispricing glitch reveals institutional investors are leaving big money on the table. Now, thousands of traders are taking advantage of this opportunity. Click the link below to find out more. The specificity here is, it's funny. Typically, I would think like, oh, big number's good. But if we're saying that there's a really big opportunity here, this amount of money on the table is finite. And so if you're selling the opportunity to somebody, the math is kind of like opportunity divided by number of people taking advantage of it equals potential payout. And so you actually want this number to feel small. Like, holy shit, not that many people know yet. Let me get in on it before everyone's using it, so I can get that big win before it becomes, before it fizzles out. So even though saying thousands might feel smaller and less specific, I think in terms of understand, like the ideal you're trying to express, that might be a slightly smoother way to present the opportunity. Sean says the genetic algorithms exist, but they're not well known. Thank you, because I did not know that. Okay, this is cool. This helps a lot. So you're trying to differentiate from the AI trading bot scam. I think in some of these ones where you're trying to do that, it might be worth actually just verbally polarizing against that. Be like, you could even get into like, okay, genetic, DNA, human, playing like the human versus machine bot kind of thing. There's a kind of fun territory for that. But I think just saying genetic program, if people are not super familiar with it because it's not very well known, you need to have some sort of qualifier in there that indicates its importance. So whether that's like, that's better than AI, that is different, that has more results, that's faster, that adapts better like humans, make it make sense to people. Next one. New discovery: how mispriced ETFs predict just about any stock, market, sector, or ETF. I mean, again, I'm not in this sector, but this doesn't feel particularly revelatory to me. Like, you're saying new discovery, and you're saying this thing, and I'm like, oh, cool. Moving on. This needs to get, pitched up or pitched down in a way where I'm like, holy shit, I need to get in on this. Or that's suggesting the phenomenon. So like, how institutional investors like miscalculations on ETFs or something lead to whatever. or how following this thing can get you that thing. Like, what is the thing, the benefit that we could stand to gain that's beyond predicting? I think we say this thing is an indicator for this other thing happening. Cool. But also, I'm a dumb, stupid reader, so you need to tell me what that means for me. So this thing indicates this thing is going to happen, which means that there's an opportunity for me to make money. I think you could stand to spell that out a little bit more. How to get into quant trading in 2024 as a trader. Cool. Straightforward. I like it. This could also just be me as like a YouTube brain person, where very clear, direct benefit to the very, very specific person who's thinking about this thing. Someone sees this, it's like, oh yeah, that's me. Let me click. It's not selling something huge, so people don't, that's not a barrier to entry. You're just saying, hey, here's the thing. Free value. Cool. It's not the biggest claim, but it's not, I think because you're not presenting anything huge, people are not going to scoff at the claim. So that's cool. Warning, don't fall for the AI trading hype without seeing this. Institutional investors are making a killing with AI trading, but they have a key advantage auto trading bots don't. See how access to this data is helping 5,000 plus traders. I understand what you're saying here, but I think the way you've written this, the idea is not as clear as it could be. So I think this part is fine. Warning, don't fall for the AI trading hype without seeing this. What it feels like you're trying to say here is that, yes, AI trading is really good if you're one of these big hedge funds, but you are not one of these big hedge funds, and so you're not going to see the same results that they see. But this is like a roundabout way of saying it. If you say institutional investors are making a killing with AI trading because they have something you don't, I think that's clear. Because here you're saying they have a key advantage that auto trading bots don't, but people don't think of themselves as auto trading bots. They think of themselves as themselves. And so if you even just say they have a key advantage that you don't, that becomes way clearer. And you also say they have a key advantage, but then you say how access to this data. And so I understand that the advantage you're suggesting here is the access to this data, but you're not saying it's access to this data. And so the connection between these things is not clear. And also now you've given away what the key advantage that's meant to intrigue people is. So I think this part needs to die. Like see how, or like I'm revealing the secret that's helping thousands of traders do something. I think helping on its own also is kind of rough as a verb. It's like helping to do what? Is it helping them lose all their money really quickly? Is it helping them, save their marriage? What is it helping them do? And then just say that. Yeah. I lost money trading for 17 years straight, and now my only job is part-time trading. Trader stumbles upon mispricing glitch in ETFs. Sean has said that mispriced ETFs feels kind of shitty, so I would suggest not saying that. But I think this idea is fine. I don't know compliance-wise how it is, but I think having the quote and then explaining what happened is kind of cool. And so, like, trader stumbles upon ETF glitch, or like a trader stumbles across amazing opportunity in ETF glitch. Cool. 25K plus in your trading account and don't know what to do with the money, but you want to put it to work. I'm not a financial advisor, but I just put it in a custom strategy portfolio boss made for me, and it's already done XX%. This is too much. Like this sentence, this is the kind of sentence I would write, and then Sean would read on stream and then grill me for it. 25K, it's just a lot to kind of mentally keep up with. So 25K plus in your trading account, and you don't know what to do with it, but you want to put it to work. You could simply say have 25K, but want to put it to work, or have 25K sitting around and want to put it to work for you. That's half this length. It's wrong. I don't know how I feel about this. I imagine you're saying this for legal reasons, but I feel like saying this up front in this way kind of weakens the whole thing. It doesn't make it relatable. Like if you could say something like, I'm not a pro, but I just put it in this custom portfolio, and I've seen this result. Someone reading I'm not a pro is gonna be like, oh, I'm also not a pro, or they're gonna say like, oh, that means that this thing could also apply to me. Most people are not gonna read I'm not a financial advisor and relate to that in that same way. Bye, Sean. Maverick trader behind #1 bestseller, The Relaxed Investor, brings quant trading to your kitchen counter. Simple. I like it. I think this phrase is very smart because you're saying bringing this complex thing to your home, to this place of comfort. I feel like there's something about the kitchen counter that emotionally for me feels very calm, peaceful, accessible. It's easy. It's like, oh, I'm just going to do my homework at the kitchen counter. It's light work, basically. So I think that's a very smart phrase to use here. I would capitalize the. More than 25K in your brokerage account and looking to take your trading seriously in 2024? This is interesting. I like the simplicity here. I think this could use some punching up. This is very blatant, but obviously it qualifies your audience in a very direct way. And so there is a type of person who's like, yeah, I do have more than 25K in my brokerage account. But I don't know if taking the trading seriously, like if you have 25K in your brokerage account, are you not taking it seriously? Like, is it taking your trading to the next level, or, improving your trading strategy? I don't think this is a matter of seriousness. Yeah. So good investors average 8 to 10% a year. One of our strategies traded XXX% last year in 2023. You think you need like a little bit more here? Like there needs to be a click here, or like one of our strategies traded 100% last year. Now we're revealing it to the public. Or not the public. Now we're revealing it, or we're revealing it for the first time. This just kind of feels like a brag, unless you then subsequently hint, now you can get in on this. Where is the opportunity for your reader? Because otherwise, it's just like, yeah, we're good people do this, but we're fucking awesome, and it sucks to be you because you're not us. You've probably heard of institutional investors making millions and billions with AI trading algorithms. This is how they do it. Not as much of a fan of this one. This ending is not it for me, because what you're revealing here is I think people have an understanding of like generally how it works. These big, shady, huge companies use algorithms that trade really fast and do really complex things to make money. You telling them that, or that's what it feels like you're going to tell them if they click this link, is like, yes, they use these things in this complex way with data you'll never see to do a thing, to achieve a result you'll never get. Even if you just tweak this to like, now we're revealing the secret behind how they do it or something, imply a deeper level of like revelation here, because on a very simple level, if you're a trader, I think you understand how institutional investors make money, or at least you think you do. Discover how this AI helped 5,000 plus traders step away from charts and computer screens in 2024 and get their lives back. See, this is where I feel like the big number is great. So, discover how this AI helped lots of people. I do think you need like a little bit more here, where it's like, this is a clear pain point for people, but you want to help them get this result without compromising the sort of monetary gains they're getting or they think they're getting. And so you need to say this and imply that they can get this without losing the reason that they're doing, that they have to deal with the pain in the first place. People are willing to endure pain to get money, but are they willing to give up the money to get rid of the pain is the question. And so you have to say that you can have both of these things. This is The Boss, a powerful AI using genetic programming to pinpoint market cycles that are invisible to the human eye. 5,000 plus traders are using strategies made by The Boss right now. Here are some of their recent brokerage statements. This is really, I really like this part. You have your mechanism, or I guess you have your USP, you have your mechanism. Invisible to the human eye is like, or market cycles that are invisible to the human eye is like really cool, because you're tying that like very physical thing to this conceptual thing. I think this is not, it's not clear what this means, or you're not really suggesting like the benefit here. Cool, lots of people are using it, and cool, you're showing their numbers, but how should I feel about what you're about to show me? Is it shocking? Like you said, like, so they're able to pinpoint these market cycles that are invisible to the human eye. After 5,000 traders started using strategies made by The Boss, now we're revealing their shocking results, or their shocking brokerage statements, or something like that. Yeah, I think this is a good comment too. Using strategies is like, cool. But also, what does that mean? I think earlier you talked about maybe it was like making custom strategies or something for people. Yeah, a custom strategy portfolio boss. And so like maybe we punch it up here. 5,000 plus traders started using The Boss's, or 5,000 plus traders started using The Boss's custom strategies. Here are their shocking results. One useful thing for writing, for at least for me, is to think about things temporally, like when you're telling these stories, particularly when it's just like a couple short sentences. You're saying, here is a thing, And when you're saying here's a thing that someone doesn't know exists, you've brought that thing into the world. And so you've implied a genesis. So first this happens. Then 5,000 plus traders started using the strategies. And then after that, here is something else that happened. And so we have this 1, 2, 3 story beat. When or whether or not you understand that. So like that is kind of how I think we interpret that information. You can then make that feel like a real story by just adding simple words like after this happened or then or because of that, So this is the boss, a powerful AI using genetic programming to pinpoint market cycles that are invisible to the human eye. After 5,000 traders started using these strategies, we discovered some shocking results. So 1, 2, 3, and it's this kind of causal chain of stuff. And so I think it ties together all these things you're saying in a way that makes it a little bit more engaging. Next one. If you have 25K liquid assets and want to learn how real traders are beating hedge funds with real money today, click right here. This could work. I don't know. I see what you're doing here. But I guess stylistically, I'm not a huge fan of this, but it could work. My only real question would be like, they're beating hedge funds with real money. What does the real money part here mean? Are there hedge funds without real money, or are you saying that this is what the traders are using to beat the hedge funds? This is just unclear for me. Because you could cut this out and just say, if you have 25K in liquid assets and want to learn how real traders are beating hedge funds, click right here. And I don't feel like you've lost anything. So either, tweak that, substantiate it, punch it up, whatever. I think this is a fair point. GJ says, I know I'm a novice, but I feel shocking is used by everyone. It's literally everywhere. Yes, you are absolutely correct. It is used a lot. We could argue it's overused. There's a weird thing, though, where on one hand, yes, it's used a lot, and so it feels not as explosive as something like mind-blowing maybe. But also because it's used a lot, people are very familiar with it. And so if someone reads it, they're not going to question the usage, and they're just kind of going to like swallow it and interpret it or absorb it and with less resistance than if you said something was mind-blowing. If Evan had said, the results were mind-blowing, I would then read the thing and be like, well, it's not really mind-blowing. If someone says, oh, this thing is shocking, I'd be like, okay, sure, whatever. Everyone says shocking, but you're implying the surprise, you're implying that you're creating that intrigue, and so I'll click, even though I know it probably won't be shocking. I will have more questions and more resistance to mind-blowing. And so there's a little bit of a balance there where you need to figure out, do you really need for something to feel mind-blowing? In which case, yeah, sure, go big, use something different. Or do you just need to imply that there's something there that for someone to discover? In which case, using something like shocking will get you there, I think, with less resistance. You're saying they are disqualifying by stating who exactly, if you have 25K liquid assets, is specific. Are you asking who is being disqualified? Because I think what he's trying to do is he's trying to filter out people who don't have that much to invest. And so if you have that much money, we want to talk to you, basically. And it's a specific amount, because I imagine that the program costs, or it's built for people who have that much to play with. Confirmation. Brokies are being disqualified. And this is another good point on the shocking question, where if you see it everywhere, then it perhaps is effective. I think if you're ever on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram or any of these other places with ads, you notice a lot of language is used repetitively. But the reason you see those ads and you see that language used so often is because it's working to whatever degree. That does not mean that it couldn't be improved. However, it's probably at least good enough such that it's not a problem for the copy. Okay, I think if you're saying this, if this is what you mean, then I would definitely, I'd say like to make real money or to earn real money or something like that, because that's unclear to me. Okay. Test this AI strategy creator risk-free. Take your trading into 2024. Kill this. This is, I think, because you've already told me that the genetic programming thing is like something you're trying to use to like position against AI trading. And so like this just feels like a weaker version of something you've already showed me. And then this just like throwaway. So I don't even think this is worth trying to remake. I get it though. It's like just very direct. It's probably very accessible, but I think other stuff you have here is more interesting. Can you make a strategy like this one? Expert traders are shocked by these AI trading strategies. I think this is hard because there's no strategy that you're pointing to for people to see. So if you're going to say, can you make a strategy like this one? People don't know what this one means. So you need to maybe visually you can show that. Maybe it's like a really pretty picture. It's all complicated and stuff, but yeah. I do think that this is kind of cool though, or not cool, but like this feels like this includes another idea. Like if you just cut this part out, it said expert traders are shocked by like the strategy, like the results these AI trading strategies produce or something. I think you need to make it clear that they're shocked by the outcome, not shocked by the strategy, because they can be shocked because the strategy is so obviously stupid and ineffective. So just make that part clear that it's like holy, like science doctors amazed that man with 3 livers is alive, kind of thing. Tanya says, it sounds like a person could miss out if they don't invest. Which I can see that. I think, to me, like the problem with this is like you are referencing something when you say this, and because it's the first part of your hook, there's nothing that anyone has any understanding of. And so unless you have a really strong visual that you're tying this to, I don't know as a reader what I'm supposed to take away from this. You can imply the FOMO here, or you could kind of like tweak this question to make it clear what someone is potentially missing out on. And then say that you need the program to come up with this custom strategy for you because you could not make it yourself. You're relying too much on the word this here to do the work for you. Okay. No one can show you the best stock picks every day, but I spent 6 years, $3 million, and thousands of man hours developing an AI that shows you when or where and when to find market inefficiencies. Thousands of real traders have used this to find an edge in the market. If you're interested in hearing more, check out the link under this video. I think you could punch this up because you do something kind of cool here. So you say no one can show you the best stock picks every day, but you spent a bunch of time and money to develop this AI that shows you where and when to find these inefficiencies. the sort of like latent idea under here is that the AI it's a computer. It's always on. It's always working. It's always doing. This you can use this to push against this. I think if you change this language very slightly to suggest a person, like no man, no woman, no guru, no whatever, can show you the best stock books every day, but a machine can, and then tweak the back at half of the sentence to be like, to develop an AI that shows you when and where to find market inefficiencies every day or something. So say like a person can't do it, but this thing can. Thousands of real people are using this to find an edge. Click here to learn more. Just kind of minor tweaks that I think make a big difference. Yo, where? Is it in his email? Okay. So serious AI trading tools for serious traders. No hype, no fluff, no wasted time, and no fancy marketing. Just pure tested analysis and results that speak for themselves. Click here to learn more. I like it. Cool. Thumbs up. Indicators don't work, and neither do trading bots that use them. I spent $6 million developing the only AI tool that lets home traders trade like the hedge funds from their kitchen counter. I think you're doing a little bit too much here. Your first sentence, I think it's fine. You don't need this comma though. I can die. So thesis or idea. So indicators don't work. This thing that people always look for don't work. And because they don't work, these things that people are building and trying to sell to you also don't work. But I spent this much money developing the only AI that avoids them, is what you need to say. So this thing doesn't work, but my thing does. And then you have to say the reason it does is because it doesn't do the thing I just said doesn't work. So I spent $6 million developing the only AI that doesn't use indicators or something, or that gives trade suggestions or recommendations without relying on faulty indicators. Now home traders get to trade like hedge funds from the comfort of their kitchen counter. You're just missing that part of saying why your AI tool is not like this one. Cool. Okay. Any more questions? Let me know. Post in the Discord. I'll help you out. Those are good though. What do we got next? We have Zale. Appointment landing page. Context. The goal is to generate appointments, sales calls, straight from Facebook ads. So the funnel is Facebook ad that drives to a landing page that is trying to get you to book a call via a calendar. The audience is men between 25 and 45, struggling with confidence, procrastination, and fear to reach their goals in life. You could have just said me. You could have just said Rod. How long is this? 3 or 4 pages. Okay. So, I'm looking for 5 men who want to become more confident to beat procrastination and self-doubt in May. Okay, I'm okay with that. Get a free confidence call. Feel trapped in a cycle of fear and unfulfillment? Many ambitious men like you seek more than the mundane 9-to-5 life, but find themselves stuck in a rut of anxiety, overwhelm, disappointment, and self-doubt without knowing why. They push themselves to read more books, buy new courses, and hustle harder, but nothing works. So they feel the guilt and shame of not achieving their dreams. Albert Einstein once said, "Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Break free from the cycle. Join a free discovery call with one of Guru's expert advisors. Uncover the root of your fear and regain control over your life. Book your free confidence call today. Available slots fill up quickly. Secure yours now." Okay. As featured in these fancy places. It's who is this for? The goal is to help you understand where fear and self-doubt actually come from and how to let go of them. Because if you don't know where they come from, it's impossible to target them effectively. It's like throwing a dart blindfolded, aiming at a target that's hidden around the corner. If you know where they come from, you'll be able to experience the life satisfaction and transformation you were so desperately seeking. And that's exactly what you'll discover during the free confidence call. Identify the real cause of crippling fear and self-doubt. Learn how to release fear and mental blocks forever. Stop self-sabotaging behaviors the moment they appear. Discover how most self-help books and courses keep you stuck. Reprogram your mind for success and get what you want. About the Guru, for 15 years, he's guided hundreds of men to overcome fear and self-doubt to build long-lasting confidence. Just a really quick thing. I think this number feels way too small for 15 years. Let's say it's like 500 people. Let's not say that. Let's say it's like 600 people. That means it's like 40 people a year, which doesn't feel huge, at least in 2024. So I consider changing this number or something. He's guided people to build long-lasting confidence. His work is featured in these places, to name a few. And his expertise as a mentor doesn't only come from studying his field, but also from his dramatic life transformation. Being bullied, sexually abused, and even resented by his mother for being born as a child. He was haunted by feelings of anger, guilt, resentment, and shame. Nothing he did felt like he was good enough. After years of stagnation, business failures, he discovered the secret to transforming fears into power and built multiple thriving companies. His unique coaching ability has been described as, quote, being able to identify the root cause of your mental blocks within minutes of listening. Today, his passion is to find diamonds in the rough and equip them with the skills and knowledge to pursue their wildest dreams in life and business. Testimonials. What will you do the next time fear blocks you from getting closer to the life you want? You've tried it all. Books, courses, using willpower, maybe therapy, but you still haven't achieved the success and emotional peace you seek. The usual methods don't focus on shifting your mindset by looking at the root cause of your mental blocks, so you continue to feel stuck in one or many areas of your life. If you're ready to break free and stop letting life pass you by, hoping and wishing for something to change, sign up for a conference call with one of Guru's expert advisors today. Okay. What do you guys think of this? Evan says, I feel like heavy ideas like this are best approached obliquely, especially with men. By obliquely, I believe Evan means not super directly, so kind of talk around them. Christian says, this is too relatable. Yes, Evan goes on to say, come with people from the point of hustle, align with them, and then show them their vulnerability. Christian says, not bad. I agree with Evan. I think this is a little bit too direct. At least in the United States, I think the guys are like, if I walked up to a dude and was like, do you experience anxiety, overwhelm, disappointment, and self-doubt? People would just be like, wait, what? Excuse me? And so if you want to talk about this, you need to talk about some other stuff first. One thing I noticed is definitely lacking is examples. And offers like this are where stories really, really shine. So instead of having the guru section down here and just kind of throwing this in here, tell the guru's story a little bit. Like lead with like, from the age I was 10, the first time I never felt good enough, or I was 10 years old the first time I learned that I wasn't good enough. The first time the world told me I wasn't good enough. And from then, it was just like an onslaught of abuse after abuse and hustling and trying to feel good enough but not achieving it, and then people leaving me and not feeling confident, and then examples of things not happening or happening because you're stuck in the cycle of not feeling good enough. Pivot, and then revelation. At some point, I realized that underlying all of this was this confidence problem, blah, 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 blah. And then I decided to transform and be better, and then I became this great person. And now I'm here because I want to help people, other people like me, because I know that there is hope on the other side. And then you get into, so if you are also struggling with things like this, the truth is that it's not that you're not good enough. It's that your anxiety and fear and confidence just aren't aligned with the truth of how awesome you really are as a person. And so I want to help you gain the confidence to be the kind of person that you are on the inside. That's a better way. That's an easier way to get to this without just like unloading on somebody the second they get to your page. Okay, lots of stuff in chat. Great. So like, yes, Tanya reads my mind, as per always. Evan has another angle, which I think could definitely work too, is lead with confidence and success and then pivot to being 10. So you start at the end and you say, you know what, today I have 20 million bazillion successful businesses. I'm a great fucking dad. My friends love me. I got a beautiful wife who's there for everything I need, yada, 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 yada. But looking at me, you would never know that I used to hate myself. It started when I was 10, and then you go tell the story up until now. You talk about that sort of inflection point and go through everything I just said before. And so you can do this where you are, or I guess Evan goes somewhere different. My suggestion first would be you can start at the end, be like, hey, this is where I got to, and then reveal where you started to suggest the possibility that the reader can overcome what they are to get to a similar result. I think what Evan is suggesting is saying, hey, my life was like looks fucking great on the outside, but underneath I was this ball of anxiety and depression, and it felt like everything was about to explode if I took my foot off the gas pedal at all, literally Mission Impossible style. And so everyone thought things were great, and I was just looking for a fucking out because I could not take my life anymore. And then talk about the transformation that someone like that has to undergo. To me, I think that's a little bit harder to pull off or to be persuasive that way, because most of your audience probably is not at that success state or doesn't have the sort of life that looks perfect, and then people just don't get that everything's really hard for them. If you were more honed in on a more affluent, like rich audience, and you were like presenting this to people who have like white collar jobs and like, higher social status and stuff, I think Evan's angle would be really, really good, much better than mine. But if this is just like a general thing you're throwing out there, it's probably the case that most people their lives do not look like perfect, and then just underneath it's the anxiety. Most people probably feel and look unfulfilled, and then feel worse because they know that they look unfulfilled. Yeah, so it would hit with high performance types. So both of them work. Evan's suggestion is great, so I don't want to undercut that. But what else we got? Christian asks, so don't use a question directly with them specifically. Something like, wonder why the hardest working men struggle with fear and doubt. I wouldn't, because I don't think that's what most people see. Like if you like I just thought experiments, so like people in chat, like think about people like Elon Musk, like Jeff Bezos, like, I don't know, your boss, like whoever, male person in your life that you think is successful, do you look at them and think that they struggle with fear and doubt? Because my experience has been that when I look at people like that, I'm like, oh, you must have it figured out. Or, oh, you must be, there's so much crazy stuff happening, but you seem to deal with it great. So you must be just so peaceful and so experienced and so awesome too. It may be the case that those people struggle with those things, but when you say, oh yeah, this guy struggle with it, I wouldn't just understand that intuitively. When we're telling stories like this, we want to tap into the notions that people have, these intuitions that people have about how the world works and operates, to get them to sort of buy into this vision that we're putting on the page for them. And so it's less about the truth and more about what do people think when we present a person or a story to them. Zali says, I'm saying to even simplify it with something everyone can relate to. Tomorrow I'll finally start. How often did you say that to yourself? And develop the copy from there. I think that's fine. I do think it is easier to get people to open up if you start from somebody else. And so rather than saying, how many times, yesterday you said tomorrow, start with somebody else where it's like, this person struggled with it, yada, 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 but they got there. And then after you've told their story, then dig into the reader and be like, you're probably like me. You probably deal with this. You probably procrastinate. You probably have self-doubt. You probably whatever. And I want you to know that it's going to be okay. Yeah. Yes, this is the point. The people buy for feeling connected to the story that leads to the answer. It is it's very tempting when we're writing these things to do so much research, to feel like we get our audience really well, because we do. We work really hard so that we understand, hey, this is kind of how people are in the world. But we have to remember that just telling somebody literally how they are is not always the best route to get them to open up and engage with us. If you've ever been in an argument with someone who was clearly wrong, you will know that being like, hey, you were objectively wrong about this thing, or like, hey, I'm mad at you because you legitimately messed this thing up, or you screwed me over, is generally not how you get people to take accountability or to work with you. And so we need to think about what people in that emotional experience or in the experience of themselves, where they are and what they need to hear to feel seen and to feel like, and to sort of build that trust with them. Unironically, this would probably be the most valuable thing we ever created, and we will probably never make this. But like on a very fundamental level, like this is what good copy is doing. It is understanding where people are, understanding what they need, and speaking to them from that perspective, rather than like what people feel they need, rather than what they actually need. Yes. Would it's not your fault angle be too sympathetic and maybe even condescending? I have mixed feelings on this. I think it can work sometimes. When the problem is really, really big, I think that can be effective. If you think about like really big things like sexism or racism, like, and then you tell people like, hey, it's not your fault that you got passed over for this thing. It's because of sexism or racism. I think people look at things like that and it's like, oh, it's so big, it's so obvious. Everyone takes it for granted. So of course I could accept that answer without questioning it and pitying myself so much. But if you're talking about like, I think there's an additional problem when we're speaking to men specifically, because in the context of the US, probably Canada, probably a lot of Western Europe, a lot of the way in which we define masculinity, and not to go too deep, but is through the lens of like agency and efficacy and like power. And so in some sense, telling a guy who's in a shitty position, hey, it's not your fault, don't worry about it, you know, everything, bad things happen to people, is like one of the most emasculating things you could do. It's like saying, yeah, I know you're not good enough to overcome this thing, and there are other people who in your situation would, but I don't believe that you are able to do this thing. And so, you know, just take a step back and just let it happen. Life will go on or whatever. I think the most empowering thing would be like, you have inside of you what it takes to overcome this. We just need to unlock that for you. Don't tell them it's the world's fault. Tell them that they have the power to overcome the world, and that it's just a matter of learning how to do that. Make them the protagonist in the story of their life and say, you know, you're at the beginning of your story, and if you apply yourself, if you lean in, if you have this unique mechanism that we're presenting, then your story arc will go the way you want it to. There is a joke in this comment. And thank you. Yeah, I think, unironically, just go to YouTube, like right now. Actually, let's just do this. YouTube.com. Motivational speech. I don't know if you guys will be able to hear this, but like, if you look, like, just like go through this stuff. I type in motivational speech. It's control your mind. Be disciplined. There is no easy way. Change your mind. Don't regret your life. Discipline yourself. Why do we fail? Have no regrets. Keep grinding. To grow, you must suffer. So this is like existing so that you can grow. You know, you're your own biggest enemy. No excuses. You know, obviously there's a level to which like we can get a little bit toxic about this. You know, just grind. If the things aren't going your way, grind harder, hustle harder. You're not working hard enough. You're just not applying yourself, yada, yada, yada. But I do think it's true that in our culture, this is a really effective way to speak to men, to kind of get them motivated, activated to speaking in that way. And we can do that in a way that is motivational without going so far as to get toxic with it. I think it's just a matter of restraint on our part. Yeah, I think tough love is a good way of thinking about it. And the thing with tough love is like, you're not being an asshole to the person. You're being tough because you know they can take it, and being tough with them, you are acknowledging that you know that they can take it. And so it's acknowledging a sort of power, an ability within them that I think can often feel more empowering than just saying, oh my God, you're so great, I love you. Yeah. Let's move on. We got a couple more. So this one is from Nathaniel. Leave your ex in the rear view with these 3 simple steps. So the product is a 3-step lead magnet to get over a breakup. They're currently preparing a full funnel leading to a breakup recovery course in order to get them onto an email list. Target is women from 30 to 45 who have been through a difficult breakup. The headline was based on a number of bullets from Sean's recent bullet video. Great. It should be a fun one. 2 pages, okay. So 3 simple steps to leaving your ex in the rearview mirror forever. Your ex has an inexplicable hold over you. You think about him when you go to sleep, then again when you wake up. You remember how he used to smell, the words he used to say. He consumes your thoughts. Let me assure you, it's not your fault. I was there once too. I used to think of my ex every hour upon the hour. Every evening, I'd sit on the couch, hoping he'd walk through the door and make me whole again. It was definitely a toxic pattern. But what if I told you it doesn't have to be this way? What if your thoughts could be free of him forever? And you could finally think about you again? In order to help you and other amazing like you move on, I've created a free 3-step guide to leaving your ex in the rearview mirror forever. If the pain of your breakup is stopping you from becoming the amazing, beautiful woman you know you can be, download your free 3-step guide today. What do you guys think about this? Does this feel right tonally? Yeah. Christian Cole. Yeah. So here's the it's not your flag. And so, we can get into thinking about gender differences and how we speak to people. And, I don't think we can really be like, it's moral or immoral to kind of change our language based on audience. I think probably as copywriters, we have to be like, this is what we're supposed to do. This is what we have to do. We should just be aware of these things so we can play into them or not play into them when it's appropriate. This seems like another one to approach from a place of strength. Yeah, this is really interesting to me because as a dude, this feels very strange. I don't know if that's how it feels to a lot of women, though. I've seen a fair amount of like courses like this aimed at women, and a lot of them take this sort of this sort of tone or approach to it, where it might not be about an ex, but like relationship problems are presented as a phenomenon. It's just a thing that happens in the world. And so the reader as a woman is then this woman who's existing in the context of a world in which things are happening to them. And then the product is then offering a solution to like what's happening to change, to give the woman tools to fight against the world. Which is a little bit different from the sort of male perspective we typically take, where it's like, it's not the world that needs to change, it's you. And so you're changing yourself. You're not fighting against the world. The world's going to be the way it is. And so you need to adapt. Yeah, I think there are a few things though where I would kind of tweak this, where this feels a little much. It's a little hyperbolic, where in a way that doesn't feel as real to a lot of breakups as I think it could be. And what I mean when I say that is that, like you say, I used to think about my ex like every hour upon the hour. Your ex consumes your thoughts. You think about when you go to sleep, and when you wake up. It's a little dramatic. And for a fresh breakup, these are things that do happen. But I think we can speak to them in a way that is a little bit more, or rather a little bit less like so much. So, for example, like, as someone who's gone through a fair amount of breakups, these sorts of things happen, but they're triggered. And so it's not that you just think about it when you go to sleep. It's that you lay down to go to sleep and you realize that he's not there anymore. And that experience is then what makes you miss him. It's you're going through the laundry basket and you see one of his old shirts and it smells like him or something, or you have to you drink a cup of coffee and remember how you always sat at that kitchen table together talking about the future. It is the million tiny little things you do in your life where you used to do them with other person. And so then when you start to do them again by yourself, you are confronted with the abyss that is this person's absence. Like, go and being a little bit more specific about it lets you make it actually even more emotionally impactful without being like, oh my God, he consumes your thoughts. Or if you're going to say it, you do want to talk about like this thought thing, like what is this person thinking? Is it like, you can go into that, you thought you were going to have a future together, but you didn't. But like that just in a day, that just vanished. Your future vanished. Or the dog you got together, or the vacation photos you're looking at, or your friends asking about, oh, when is X coming too? And then you have to like, you're embarrassed because then you have to say, yeah, actually we broke up. And the other person like has this like pity in their voice where we're like, oh, I'm so sorry. And you feel like shit because not only are you alone, but now you know everyone else like looks at you and thinks of you as this alone person. You can go so fucking deep with the shit. And I think spending the time just like going in there, watch some dumb, stupid rom-coms, go on, the Ask Women subreddit on Reddit and just like search breakup stories, and you will hear crazy shit that you can just plug into here that will be so much better than what you have, or so much deeper. Because what you have here isn't bad. I think it's like the right feeling, but you can make it so much more real to the person. Yeah, I think this is the thing that stuck with me, because it's very one tone throughout the entire thing. So it's like when someone first does a breakup, of course you're in that place of like despair, but you can't go the entire time and just have the thing as like, okay, get this thing and you'll be free of despair. No, you want to sell somebody on how like their life can not just be not sad, it can be better than ever. And so you have to like start here, signal that you understand where they are, show that they can get out of there, and then present a better option for the future. Empower them to be more than that person who has just gone through a breakup. I think this is another way you can approach it. And I think probably tonally, like this would have to be a little bit longer, because you have to go from like this. You probably could. There's a better way to have this sort of pivot. But then you can go into but like deep down, that like it wasn't right, or yada yada yada. You ignored some of this, like you put up with stuff you didn't like, blah 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 blah. And now you can be even better than you were before, and he'll be looking back and being like, shit, I made a mistake. Speaking to the target audience as a BFF and less like a coach. Who is this again? So it was Nathaniel. Honestly, like the best advice I can give you for writing this, I think there's a ton of great stuff in chat, is to just go talk to a woman in your life about their breakups, read this to them, and ask for feedback on this, because this is one of those things where like you need somebody who has a lived experience here to tell you how this needs to sound and feel, because a bunch of dudes are not gonna give you are not gonna land this plane for you perfectly well. This is another thing you can do. Talk about how you want to move on, but you don't think you can, and then make the not being able to move on a problem, like the thing you fix. And then on the other side of that is, and then once you're able, like you want to move on because you know that there's something better, there's a better path for you, there's a better future. And so what we need to fix is not something inside of you because you're a great person. It is, we just need to give you the tools to move past this moment. Yeah. This is a fun one though. If you edit this, like please resubmit this, because I would love to see how this develops. Okay. Next, we got a Craigslist ad from Mr. Sean. This is not host Sean, but subscriber Sean. It's a Craigslist ad for his writing services. Hello there. I love to help individuals and businesses succeed in their businesses. I write emails, online sales letters, and online VSLs. Here's a link to my portfolio. Here's a link to the magazine it was featured in. Here's a link to my 2024 practice guide so that you see, pricing guide. So you see that I don't charge near those rates. Here's a link to my website. I charge $15 per hour. All fees 100% upfront. Contact me for a custom free quote. Also, my wife writes blog posts, $50 pricing. All right, Craigslist. Oh, I've not been on Craigslist in years. So let's just do some Craigslist, guys. Services. All right, this seems cool. So how do people do this? So need a good writer / ghostwriter. My track record is accessible. Blah, blah, blah. Means I can help you organize, edit, blah, or get started in memoir or write a book. Being a published author helps you increase your visibility. Reviews. Contact. Okay. What else? Was doing some live research. Yes, I am actually a little shocked that this UI has not changed at all. Essay composition tutor. Now it's more for kids. Resumes, cover letters, translate, writing services. Here we go. Writing services for your needs. You need writing, editing, proofreading. I'm the guy to text your email. I'm trained and educated writer. Experience, 10 years. Here's the stuff I've written. Here's an NDA. Cool. Okay. So based off of like the two things we've seen, I think one thing you can immediately do is this is fine. Say, hey, I have this much experience. Like, give your credentials if you have anything. I write this. So let's just say everything you write. That's kind of cool. I wouldn't give your pricing so much because your rate is like super low. And I think you could charge a lot more. Like $15 an hour is like not very much. And so I would not say that. Also, rule of one, I probably would have a separate post for your wife. Because it's weird that you charge $50 per hour and then she charges $50 per post. So like I would just delete this. And then especially since you say quote, then just kill this. And you need to leave some sort of contact info, I assume. It doesn't. Yeah, I think, some kind of contact info as well. Yeah. So I would do that. I have no idea. I think just browse some of these too. There might be some other stuff to like include. Pro writer editor. Like this looks more professional than what a lot of people are doing, but this probably took like 3 minutes to make in paint. So you could do something like this. Yeah, like look at the formatting on this one. I will even like just put a link to this. Check this out to use as a template. Because like this looks exponentially better than what everyone else has done. This took 3 minutes tops to make, and it probably, if you're good at paint, took like 1. Starts with a testimonial, headline, subheadline, summary, clear, concise, persuasive writing. This is what you're getting by working with me. Makes all the difference. And I can help because I'm a professional, and I will help you achieve these results by doing this thing. Here's what I can help with. Free sample, offer, whatever. Here's how to contact me. How do I help? What are the things I'm good at that I have a specialty in? Can you edit my AI generated content? Spoiler, for people who want to make a fuck ton of money, or who's like want to start copywriting right now, but like don't know how to write anything, this seems like the best offer ever. Have your clients write AI generated content and then just edit it for them so that it sounds like human. Bam. I'm sure there are thousands of businesses who would hire you to do that. There's no reason to me that like anyone should not have this listed on their services. No surprise pricing, experience. Bam. More testimonials. That's a lot of testimonials. Some SEO stuff in here. I have no idea if this is effective, but like, just like if you can copy this person's thing, this looks so much better than every other one in here. And this is just like, this is not fancy at all. So copy this shit. There you go. That's the critique. I'm surprised we found that on Craigslist. Yeah. Okay. So what's this other one? So a sales letter for a fictitious online budgeting program called Budget Brainiacs for parents or grandparents. So it's sales letter. Oh, this is okay. So the new way to teach your child budgeting skills. Cool. Sounds like a game. Dear parent or grandparent, why should you want your child to budget? Because you know it can save your child or grandchild from financial ruin. What do you do, and how do you make sure they are fully prepared to live by a realistic budget? You doing nothing practically guarantees their financial ruin. Trying to figure out how to teach them on a budget can take you forever. There is a solution that gets through to your children and grandchildren and teaches them how to create and live by a budget. Enter Budget Brainiacs, your answer to teaching your child how to budget. It gamifies the budgeting process so that children have fun while learning how to budget their money. It's the ultimate solution that teaches your child how to avoid financial ruin, the dangers of credit and why it's a must-have great credit, how to properly use a debit card, how to avoid black plague of debt, which will cripple them, and much, much more. You got some testimonial here. Cool, more testimonial. And then created by mom. So it's like cred basically. I like this too. So you can get it down below, but then you open a loop so you can say a free trial of like the actual offer. Blah, 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 try now. I'd say try now for free. Oh, that's interesting. So you're saying I think my understanding of this is that it's like a board game basically. And so I think the best way to sell this product would be to sell the game as like a low price offer or like a low ticket offer basically, and then have the upsell be subscribe to this online like service teaching people these skills. I think that makes more sense. Like I wouldn't be super enthusiastic about having a subscription to like a game like this for my kid. Oh, it's an online game. Interesting. I think if you could give people access to it for just like a flat fee, and then also on there have the subscription, like a subscription to like the ongoing thing, I think that's a better model. Just because people are used to buying like books and toys and whatever sort of thing, like educational materials for their kid. And so present it like that. And then the other thing is like, I wouldn't frame this as like budget. I'd say like you should be framing this around teaching kids financial literacy. One, because I think that's a little bit broader. And it's not just about how to not fall into the abyss of debt, but like how to use money smartly, yada, yada, yada. Also, financial literacy is like a term that people use a lot right now. And so it's a helpful way to kind of get in with parents who are probably already thinking about that. Yeah. Freemium is a fantastic pricing model. So you could, instead of selling the game and then upselling to the subscription model, like I was saying before, you could offer the game for free online to just generate a fuck ton of users, and then have an upsell within that, like a subscription thing or like microtransactions basically to buy XYZ thing within the game or on top of the game. We talk a lot about lead generation here, and I think that's one thing that the mobile game market has just like done exceptionally well is they know how to get people just into games, and then once you have them in there, it's trivial to make lots of money because if you have enough users, it's almost guaranteed that you will have a few users who spend lots of money, justifying the sort of upfront, like the overhead that you generate, that you have just some people using your stuff. So I think that's something to consider. I know this is like a not a real product, but when you are thinking about offers like this, think about how you would monetize. I feel like I read that in his book, but I have never actually seen it. Yeah, generational wealth is another cool thing, particularly like if you're talking to like upper middle class people or rich people. I think taking a step back from like it being about budgeting, like budgeting is kind of like, I think when I think of budgeting, it almost feels like a working class kind of like you don't have a ton of money, so you have to budget thing. Whereas like there are conversations about money that people have where it feels like it's more so from a place of abundance. And so teaching your kids how to use money as a tool to generate more money, to have that freedom, to have the whatever, and not you only have so much money, therefore you need to plan because otherwise you're going to run out. Those conversations feel very different emotionally. And so definitely consider the difference when you're writing the copy for this. I think we have one more to do. Oh, okay. One second. A couple more. Everyone who submitted last minute, you're going to jail. But also, I love you. Okay, cool. So we got three more. And I'm just going to blaze through these. first one is from Kevin. It's a fencing company landing page. Context: currently running Google Ads to this. I'm targeting exact match keywords like fence company near me. Bookmarks landing page. I bought a page. Let's see, what do we got? So here's a page, services, process, service area. Okay. So these are the keywords, it looks like. Or something. Keyword local fencing. Okay, here we go. And so is this different from what you have? Okay. So, expert Sumter Fence Company. Finally, a fence company you can enjoy working with. Tired of awful communication? You shouldn't have to chase down a company. Wait, is this? Okay, this is the same thing. So I'm just going to go through your actual page then, because this will be a lot easier. Cool. So we have page, homepage. I would offset this logo a little bit more to the left because it kind of looks like a button. Same with this, the Google reviews. I might kick that down to the bottom of the page or put that like somewhere else where you're showing reviews. Maybe like have it under here and have that be a link to your other reviews. All this stuff is good. Love the big CTA button with the phone number so people can call you. It's great for mobile. I would change the language here from talk to Kevin to, contact us, to book an appointment, or book a consultation, a free consultation, whatever. Because I don't know who Kevin is, just coming onto this page for the first time. So keep in mind that if someone hasn't been here before, they have no idea who Kevin is, and they don't know if they want to talk to you. I would love to talk to you, but just not. Yeah. Oh, the top. I posted headlines for my ads, and the copy is the same on the website. I see. So just go through these really quick. Fence company. Built right the first time. Honestly, with these sorts of pages, like you think about your user intent. If someone's getting to your website, it's because they have searched fence company near me or something. And so that person is like, I need a fence or I want to have a fence built. And so having one of these very direct ones, I think is going to be better. So fence company in place is great. Fencing installation, fencing, whatever, contractor, that sort of angle is I would 100% go with. All these other things are bonuses on top of that. But you just need to signal to people you are in the right place for the thing that you're looking for. I think like this is fine to me. Love, you're saying 5-star rated by customers. You have a testimonial right here. I would change this. This is like, if I'm getting a fence built, I would love working with them, but also I don't want to work with a fence company. I just want people to come out and build my fence or fix my fence. So I would go for something else, maybe like what's like a popular thing that people are asking for, like custom built fences with high quality materials or whatever like was like trendy right now in fences. Custom built fences, something. You know better than me. So you get a free estimate in minutes. What service are you looking for? So if I say fence installation, wood, calculating your quote. See, this is really cool. This is like very easy, and you're getting all this contact info, rod. I'm not going to click the button, don't worry. Cool. But I love that button. It's right at the top. Easy CTA, great. It's showing people options too of what you're thinking through. I've never gone to fence, and so I don't know if there's anything else you should have in here, but this looks great to me. So tired of awful communication? You shouldn't have to chase down a company for a job you've paid for. So why deal with contractors who can't even answer their messages? Or companies who ghost you after doing a shoddy job on the fence? We know that's a huge pain for customers. That's why communication is a number one priority. If you leave Kevin a message, he'll schedule you an estimate with Kirby ASAP. We don't hide anything, and we want you to be comfortable throughout the process. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask us. We're happy to answer anything you have along the way. This feels a little bit too much. And it's not even any of this is bad, but this feels like a lower priority than this, because thinking someone has searched fencing company near me, they're looking for a fence. If they are not ready to book a thing, or they don't want to do this, they're going to be looking for your services or what kind of options you have available. They're going to want to see pictures of work that you've done to make sure that what you have what they're looking for. So this can't come before this, where it's saying, hey, we fix fences, we install fences, vinyl, chain link, aluminum. Here's a picture built right the first time. All that stuff is more important than this right here. I like that you're weaving these testimonials in. And it's like a big variety of stuff. The other thing in here too is, again, with the names, we don't know who Kevin or Kirby is. I assume that people who run the business, but because we don't know who that is, this doesn't feel personal. It just feels like, oh wait, who are these people? So if you had at some point been like, oh yeah, it's run by Kevin and Kirby, then you say this makes sense, but you can't say this from the top. Great job having CTAs throughout the page. Again, hassle-free process. So I would, if it were me, sorry for scrolling so much, I'd have this. I'd have your services. I'd have your hassle-free process, because it's like, oh, I want a fence. Okay, they can make a fence. But how does it work? Okay, this is how they will do the fence. Okay, then we get to, and they're going to build it right the first time. So I'm looking for a fence. They have the kind of fences I want. I understand how they're going to make it. I now have confidence that they're going to build it right the first time because you've done this. And then go from there to maybe you could do this. I don't even know if you need this, but if you want to keep it, I would put it below those other things. Then you go to the map. Final CTA, I assume. Testimonial. Contact stuff at the bottom. This button doesn't seem like it's working, so I would fix that. But everything else looks good. Let's see comments. Yeah, I mean, this is a perfect example, I think, of what we would be trying to do with that model. Is just a very clear, direct, high user intent oriented landing page. Honestly, this page is pretty good. I would the biggest thing to me is just reordering these sections you already have. The copies, I don't really have any complaints, but I think this is also a lesson in why understanding your audience and what they're looking for is probably 10 times more important than the specific words you use. The words are great here, but what is going to make this page great, fantastic, is that you have everything that people are looking for, and then you're going to have them in the order that they care about them. So, great job here. Tanya says, built right the first time should be at the top of the page. I could see that. Like you could like have that be the thing here. I do think like you want this to be like the main thing, like the main idea. People need to know that you are a fence company in this area. You could have it built right the first time up here or something. But this idea too, I think, is a much bigger obstacle you need to overcome than like bad communication. Especially when you like write things like this. Like this is so great. We do fencing by the book to create sturdy, dependable fences that will last you for years. That's a huge thing for people. If you have a company van, I would also endorse putting it on the company van. But yeah, like great job. Is there anything else in here? You did a great job going from this to the actual website. It's like, the page looks good. Who do we have next? Next up is Mr. Tree, who I assume is, oh no, this other one. Test brief. So shall we? So I assume you're writing a brief. Okay, we're gonna skim this kind of. So shall we? Let's see. What is this website? Is this like a play on words? Socially. So shall we design your business as our growth? Being a hero. Grow digital marketing agency properly. Okay, cool. So they need some emails to send warm traffic on their email list to get them to take action, book a call, and get their new package, which is 50% off for the next 3 people who are invited to become clients. Their businesses have come through Facebook lead ads in the last 9 months looking for marketing solutions to grow their business. It's suspected some of these didn't convert because they weren't ready or didn't have the money. The offer is to get their business growth growing. Most clients start with one channel, which is what is recommended across Meta and or Google. They have a growth package, $5K for all creative. They realized a lot of people can't afford this and wanted to give people the chance to start working with them. Sorry. So they are offering 50% off for the next 3 people. And this is done by somebody for less money. Yeah, I definitely agree that mentioning only one woman is doing this is a weak angle. You got some research. So the team, they've had big clients. Goes down here, right? Manchester United, BVB. Cool. And usually to email will be a different theme. Okay, so they want a bunch of emails. So here's what the client originally wanted to send. Hi, name. You're getting this email because at one point in the last 9 months, you either opted in or spoke to someone on the team at the business. We didn't end up moving forward to work together, likely because it wasn't a good fit, a good time, or the right place. If you don't remember, that's okay. The point is, you're in our database list. This is not intended to be spam. I wanted to bring this offer to you first before rolling it out to the public. I'll make this quick. We're a performance agency. We use paid ads to grow businesses like yours. We focus on driving revenue growth. Basic stuff up until now. Blah, 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 blah. Details. Yeah, this definitely feels bad to say. Okay. Not sales at all. Okay. So your version is, hey, name, Josh here. The performance agency that scales service businesses like yours with paid ads. A while back, you may recall clicking on one of our ads. Remember? the ones without all the sensational rah-rah BS. So I'll keep this email the same and get straight to the point. Here's the deal. Up until now, we've had one simple growth package for new clients. You come in, we set up all these lead getting funnels for you, offer, strategy, done. All your creative, done. All your media planning, done. Funnel built for you. Reporting, testing, you name it. All done for you, which costs $5,000. On top of this, you have a full-time team working with your business, dedicated account manager available to you 24/7. However, we didn't end up working together. Maybe the timing wasn't right, you didn't have the funds to invest, or maybe you just didn't like my man bun. Either way, we know that there are a ton of businesses like yours who aren't able to invest this kind of cash ad, but still know that paid ads are what your business needs to really explode. Plus, the thought of setting all this up yourself on top of everything else you have to juggle gives you anxiety. So due to high demand, we're launching a second option. It's the same growth package above, but for 50% off, just this much money. What's the catch? The only difference is that you won't get the same 24/7 support. Response times will be a bit slower. However, this allows us to offer you the exact same results, but for half the cost. Now, unfortunately, this deal is only available for the next 3 people we invite to become clients. And I know, you've heard stuff like this before. But this is not some scarcity tactic you've been hammered with from gurus trying to sell you their snake oil. We don't do that here. We genuinely can only work with 3 clients this tier. And we choose them very, very carefully. Why? Because honestly, we won't make $1 until about 4 to 6 months into our partnership. Meaning we only make money if you are growing and making money, which in our opinion is the way an agency should be run. So if that sounds interesting, let's chat about working together and make 2024 the year your business finally reaches its full potential. Simply head to our website below and book a call. You'll be speaking with me directly, not some closer with commission breath. And if I'm 100%, we can get you the same insane results we got for clients like Zoom, Hungry Panda, and Storage King. Yeah, we'll invite you to become a client, but at 50% off. If you want more details, just click the link below and book in a quick call. Talk to you soon. Josh. Definitely, I think you can delete these 2 lines. Overall, this is like far better than their version. It has way more voice to it. I will say it runs a little long because of the formatting. Like, if you could like make this bullets kind of. Because like it's one of those things you want on the page, but like you don't really care if someone reads it. Make it a little bit easier to get there. But you do a great job. It's funny. It has a lot of character to it. It's very true. It's like feels like a more interesting version of what they had above. As far as the catch goes here, I still don't know if this is the way to frame it. Like, can you just say, like, hey, we want it, like, it doesn't have to be that, like, the offer does not need to be, hey, we have a new mom servicing your thing, and so she's going to take longer to respond. It could genuinely be, hey, we want to offer this to 3 more businesses at this lower price point because we just want to. And so the catch here can be that we're only doing this for the next 3 people that we take on as clients. Because saying you won't get the same support and response times are going to be slow is like terrifying when you're investing money, especially if this feels like a significant amount of money for your business. So I would honestly just like cut this, go straight to here. The rationale for this feels fine. Oh, you have a PS too. Yeah, your PS is great. Yeah, I mean, so very good job. I would only offer those tweaks. Otherwise, it's good. I think they'll really enjoy this. Well, I guess they have because they approved it. But yeah, I would definitely ask if you could just cut out the part about less support and just frame it around, hey, this is like a special offer for the next 3 people you take on 50% off. It feels like a simpler way and that you don't expose yourself to as much crazy shit. That was an email Basically, they were sending an email to a warm-ish list, a cooled-off list to kind of gauge interest to try to get some leads from there. It's an interesting question. I think there's arguments both ways. On one hand, maybe. On the other hand, if you offered something to people before and you're trying to kind of get them back in it, they know how much the first thing costs. And so saying, hey, now it's only this much, it is a real dollar savings. And so I think it's fine to say that. Yeah. So last one. This is from Mr. John Cornelius. This is a sales page for an online course on how to write better CVs and cover letters aimed at university students and recent graduates applying for full-time roles. Now, if I am correct, at some point in the past, you submitted this, so I would love to see how this is different now. So, we start with like a kind of testimonial. I guess one note, because it goes all the way up to the top of the page, it does feel like a cut off. So if you could like have a little bit of white space so it feels like I see the full picture, that'd be great. If there was like, if you could show like the picture too of somebody, that helps a ton. Just making it feel more like alive and personal helps, because the testimonial itself is like, the benefit's very clear, but it's not very holy shit. So the CV and cover letter framework that helps you land your dream job in fewer applications. Dear applicant, job hunting doesn't have to be a numbers game. You can finally wave bye-bye to tracking 50, 30, or even 15 applications with spreadsheets, desperately throwing your CV and cover letter at every open vacancy, and falling for the false hope of easy apply jobs on LinkedIn. Great picture. I think it's too early to have this, the CTA. You're about to find out a new way of landing your dream job that immediately reduces the number of job applications you need to send, gets you out of the job market faster, using a framework unknown to 90% of applicants, stops you getting messed about by recruiters, especially the ones hiring for your dream job. If getting rejection emails is lowering your career expectations, or if you haven't started job hunting, what you're about to find out will have your friends asking one question: how did you overcome the broken job application process? And so this is the picture. Oh, this is kind of cool. If you could like blow this up a little bit, that'd be great. If the framework worked for an international student from Zimbabwe, it can work for you. More testimonials. My name is John. I'm from Zimbabwe. I used to have a 5-page CV when I moved to the UK. This wasn't the only problem I faced while looking for my first full-time job. I think this would be better if you kind of said, like, wrote this out. So, for example, this wasn't the only problem I faced while looking for my first full-time job. It felt like it took weeks to complete a single application, and all the while I was fiddling with Excel to keep track of of all of the applications I was doing, constantly begging recruiters for feedback or updates on my application. But after I discovered the framework, I was getting interviews within a week of applying. I started getting interviews within a week of applying for jobs. and because all while writing applications like far more quickly because I knew exactly how I needed to structure them. Things were going so well that I even started helping my friends with their cover letters and CVs. And so just like say that out. Or testimonials. I would give this a name, like the CV and cover letter framework, because it feels kind of boring. Like give us name this something. I discovered that there are some lucky people. One sec. Who completely avoided. So okay, it feels like there's all of this stuff is fine, but it feels like you have a few different ideas here, and I think you need to pick one or figure out how they all fit together. So you start off like very simply. You're very, very direct. You're like, job hunting doesn't have to be a numbers game. It's time to say goodbye to this stuff because you're about to find out. You're about to start doing this. And if this is your experience, then like now is the time for you to tap into this thing because it's going to leave you being the kind of person where your friends are giving you this kind of feedback. It's idea number one. Idea number two is that you're this kid from Zimbabwe and this worked for you. And so if it can work for me, it can work for anybody. I think if you're going to do that, you need to talk about why being from Zimbabwe is a disadvantage. Culturally, were there things you weren't taught? Was there like secret insider knowledge? Is there like some sort of like racism or discrimination? Tell people why. If a lot of your traffic is other people from African countries, they might get it, but even if they get it, you can still speak to it to kind of build that emotionality into this letter. Because here, these benefits, or like this before and after you're talking about, applies to everybody, not just people from Zimbabwe. So this isn't very specific to what you're saying here. But this is idea number two. Idea number three is that you use this process to sneak into the banking industry. And I think this is what I saw before. So then it's like how I snuck into the banking industry without a finance or business degree, or like the framework that helped me sneak into this industry. Or the secret framework, because then you're presenting this framework as like this secret knowledge that some people were taught in life and that other people weren't. And so if you say, hey, I figured out the thing, that's the reason why some people are successful and some people aren't, and that thing let me do this crazy thing, that's another angle. So that's angle number three. And then this kind of is all a part of this angle. And then you can speak, I think, regardless of the thing, you can speak to how people feel, yada, yada, yada. But I think all of these things, I would start with the story. And so I'd pick either the Zimbabwe thing or the banking thing. And honestly, the banking thing is more interesting to me. So I'd say, the difference between these people, between some people and other people, is that some people have learned this and some people haven't. And because that difference leads to the people who don't know about it feeling crushed, mentally burdened, and talk about all of the shitty things that people who don't know this go through because they have a terrible time getting jobs. And then you can go through, here's what it does. Whatever. So I think just kind of restructure this a bit because you have a bunch of different ideas and you need to kick some of them out so that the other ones can shine more. Whew. Okay, there was a lot of critiques. I'm about ready to wrap up because I have to go back to work. You guys have any questions before we call it for the day? Questions, comments, concerns? I mean, if not, then I guess I'll just go work. Thank you, as always, everybody, for stopping by. Whetstone Wednesday is brought to you by. Did you post a review in Discord? If you want us to review yourself, you have to post it in our exclusive critiques channel in Discord, which you get by going to, what is it? Patreon.com/to copy that show and signing up. And if you do that and you connect your Discord to Patreon, you will get exclusive access to some secret Patreon channels, which let you do things like submit a copy for Whetstone Wednesday. Thank you to everybody who is a patron. If you're not a patron, we still love you. And you absolutely do not need to be a patron for us to continue loving you. And you don't need to become a patron to, be successful on your copywriting journey. That's just what allows us to keep making this content for free for everybody who is here watching. So thanks to all of you guys. I hope you guys have a fantastic week. And we'll see you soon, I'm sure. We have some fun announcements coming up. So take care. Have a great day, guys.